Hey everyone, I'm Sean Wheelock. The term legend is often used too loosely, but in the case of Chuck Liddell, legend absolutely applies. The Iceman recorded 21 wins and 14 finishes in his phenomenal MMA career, which saw him win the UFC light heavyweight title in 2005 when he defeated then champion Randy Couture by first round knockout. And Liddell was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in 2009. And over the course of that phenomenal career, Chuck the Iceman Liddell became one of the most popular and best known fighters in the sport. Chuck Liddell joins me now on FITE. Hey, Chuck, thanks for being on.
Hey, thanks for having me as always.
Chuck is starring in the new film Cagefighter Worlds Collide. It will debut on FITE May 16th. Is a one-night only streaming purchase available globally, except in the United States and the Caribbean. Now, there will be 3 start times available. That's 7 p.m. or 1900 local time in Melbourne, in London, and in Toronto. Again, 7 p.m. local time for all 3 cities. And then there will be a live question and answer session with key participants from the movie immediately following the conclusion of Cagefighter Worlds Collide. Now, for more information and to order, go online to FITE.tv, and you can download the FITE app. Of course, that's FITE, spelled F-I-T-E. Chuck, so not only are you one of the greatest MMA fighters in the history of this sport, but you're also a pretty prolific actor. You've had roles in Entourage 2007. That was a great part on the HBO series. You were in the film Kick-Ass 2. How did you get involved in this film?
In this one or Entourage?
No, in this film. We'll start with this film. I do want to ask you about Entourage, though.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. No, so they came, they sent me the script, and I took a look at it, and I liked the script. I wanted to be part of it, and I looked at it, and I looked at the timing of the shooting, and I'm like, oh man, I had 2 surgeries, one in September and one in October, and this one's going to start shooting right after my surgeries, and I'm like, oh man, I love your script, I love the movie, but I can't. I'm not gonna be able to move around and fight in the movie. He's like, oh, that's great, because we wanted you to be a coach. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Then I can still do this, and that actually, for me, allows me to play a little different character and different part.
This was 21 days.
This was 21 days on the set, right? More like, yeah. I was actually I gave him 21 days, and that's not normal for me. Like I normally, I make them shoot me out pretty fast because I just don't want to be gone that long. But I really wanted to get into the acting a little more, and I get a little more serious about it, and having and being around and being in the works there.
Jesse Quinones is the writer and director. Did he write this part for you? Surely that Chuck Liddell does not have to audition for a role.
Oh, I didn't have to audition for
Good.
This, but he I don't know if he wrote it for me, but I think he thought it'd be he obviously sent it to me, so he thought it'd be a great part for it. So I don't know. I don't know. I actually didn't. I don't think I asked him if he wrote it for me, but I don't think he did. Because I'm not really playing me as a coach. I was kind of more playing kind of like he had the same relationship I have with my trainer. He was like his mentor, and it's like they came up together, been together forever, and so I was kind of playing more like a John type character. Maybe not as funny, but maybe not as crazy. But yeah, I was just playing more of like but I got to play a different character. So I wasn't really playing like my style of coaching.
This film is entitled Cagefighter Worlds Collide. Now, the worlds are mixed martial arts and professional wrestling. Let's talk about the plot of the film. It's kind of a cool premise, especially with the fact that Japanese MMA flows directly out of puroresu, out of pro wrestling. So it's not inconceivable that you could have what's put forth in this film, an MMA star against a pro wrestling star who really knows how to shoot, really knows how to fight.
Well, yeah, we've already had that happen before.
Absolutely, Brock Lesnar.
When, Brock Lesnar came in. Yeah, Brock was a mean wrestler, and a tough guy. Yeah, so yeah, no, but it's a very interesting storyline. A good, it's a fun film.
So I mentioned Entourage. So many MMA fans remember seeing you on Entourage. At the time, that was one of the hottest shows on TV, not just on HBO, but on all of American television. I remember just thinking how cool. Now this is 2007, which isn't a long time ago, but MMA was far less mainstream. My neighbors at the time, I was commentating in Pride, and they thought I was like a professional wrestling commentator. They just didn't get it. And to see you on Entourage, man, that was so cool, and that was so cool, I think, for the mixed martial arts community.
Oh yeah. I mean, I actually went to everybody I knew that I thought might have a shot at getting me on the show. I just wanted to do a cameo on it, like just, hey Vince, because I was a huge fan of the show. I watched it every week. And then they said, well, if we're gonna have you on the show, why don't we just write you in it? And so I got to do the full thing, and I got a lot of people. I could tell people that the surface fans and fans that just kind of knew me, but they'd be, oh yeah, you're that guy from Entourage. So started getting that a lot, and it was cool. And then, well, a lot better than hey, aren't you the guy from Dancing with the Stars? I get that sometimes too.
When you look back on your career, again, a remarkable career. You were the UFC light heavyweight champion, rightfully inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in 2009. The great trilogy with Tito Ortiz, the great trilogy with Randy Couture. When you look at your career, do you think it was just a confluence, your popularity of your personality, your look, your fighting style, and the fact that literally every fight you had from day one, you made your debut in the UFC, which is unheard of now, you were against A-level competition. You never had those regional fights, those mom and pop show fights to build your career up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to think it's because of my fighting style, the way I went out and fought. I was always out there to end the guy. I wasn't out there to outpoint him and just do enough to win. I came out there to end you every round. If I was winning, if I won every round, I'm still coming after you to finish you. So, and as a fan, that's what I like to. I mean, I like watching guys that are trying to finish. I don't care the fight, it's jiu-jitsu, ground and pound, stand up, however you're trying to finish. I like watching guys try to finish. Don't get me wrong. I was a coach too, and I managed guys, and I was trying to help their career along. And I want them to win fights. And I'm as a coach, I understand it. I get it because I remember one fight I had a kid. He kept taking the guy down and going right for a submission, and then guy get on top and sit on top and hit him a few times. And then he'd do it. He'd get up and get out, and then he'd take him down, go right for a submission, almost get it but miss it, and then get the guy bound him. I'm all, look, can you take him down, score some points first, and then go for the submission? I want you to win this fight. But so as a coach, I get it, but that playing safe like that and trying to just kind of, it isn't as fun to watch.
Chuck, my favorite fight of yours is one that's maybe lesser known, but I think the hardcores like myself, we definitely look at this. You defeated the late, great Kevin Randleman, UFC 31. It was in Atlantic City, May 2001. Now, I remember after watching this fight, I was thinking to myself, man, I knew the Iceman was really good, but this guy's a completely different level. Did you feel like that was the win that put your career on an accelerated path?
Well, I think it really it did sort of. I mean, the way it. I had two knockouts in that month because of that fight. I knocked him out at minute 18. Came out, and Kevin was. And I asked for that fight. He was coming down from heavyweight. He lost the title at heavyweight. Was coming down to light heavyweight, and was supposed to come down and become the new champion down there. Challenge for him, be the big guy there. And so I wanted. That's an option. I want that fight. I want him. And so I got put in that fight, and I knocked him out. And then right afterwards, Pride went to Dana and was like, "Hey, we want to use him for this fight in 3 weeks. We need someone to fight Guy Metzger." And so we had my lawyer, the Pride's lawyers, Dana's, everyone got together and they all figured out a contract, and it was a 2-tiered contract depending on how I did in Pride. So if I won over there, I come back and I have this one. Like if I lost over there, I come back and I have this contract. So and I went over there and it was a great fight, and I knocked him out in the second round, I think it was. But and having those 2 knockouts in 1 month, I mean, really, really, my career exploded from there.
Kind of inconceivable now that the UFC is going to be loaning out their top stars to another promotion, but it was a different time in our sport.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it was a good time. It was a lot of good memories back then.
Chuck, so your win versus Kevin Randleman is my favorite Iceman fight. What's your favorite fight?
You know, it's hard. I had a lot of good memories, a lot of good fights, but when you really put it to me, I'd say the second fight with Randy. You know, I avenged the loss. You know, it was right after winning the show and having the first Ultimate Fighter, and you know, and then you know, getting the title I've been after for so long, and I did it the way I wanted to do it. You know, I came out, knocked him out. So that was that had to be, if I had to choose one, that had to be it.
It's amazing the relationship with you and Randy Couture. And about 2 years ago, a video circulated online. The two of you were grappling at a gym, I believe, in Los Angeles. It may have been Jay Glazer's gym or Higan Machado's gym.
Yeah, it's at Jay's gym. Yeah,
and that made the rounds.
Unbreakable. Yeah.
Yeah, and the two of you look so fresh. And I know everyone was buzzing, oh, we have to see a fourth fight. But that was just so cool that you guys were so fluid and so fresh. And, you know, people know for whatever reason that Randy Couture was a Division I wrestler, maybe because of your knockout power. I think even serious MMA fans who should know better forget that you were a really good Division I college wrestler.
Oh, yeah, and you know, I see all the time people talking about, oh, he was a one-dimensional fighter.
Crazy.
I was pretty good at jiu-jitsu too. I mean, you can talk to people around, you know, that I trained with. I was a decent wrestler, and I was good at jiu-jitsu too. I prefer to knock you out. I prefer to punch you.
And I think that, again, I think it's the punching power. And that's why I think a lot of people forgot just how good you were on the ground, how solid your wrestling was, how good your submission game was as well. I mean, everybody, even I'm the biggest grappling nerd you might know, but even I want to see a knockout. There's just something about a knockout, and that's what you delivered. You had 13 TKOs or straight knockouts in your pro MMA career.
Yeah, well, thank you. I enjoyed every one of them.
When you look at the sport now, just how it's evolved, and I'll step back for a minute and tell you this, because we've all been home because of COVID-19, I've been watching a lot of those Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali fights they've been showing continually on ESPN. What pops to me, man, is that you look at a boxing from 30, 40, 50 years ago, sport looks pretty much the same. You watch MMA from 20 years ago, it looks like a completely different sport. Did you feel that evolution throughout your career?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we were evolving from the beginning. I mean, I came in when, you know, most guys came into the sport with one discipline, and they had to learn, you know, that they had to learn the rest, right? So you came in with either a striking background, wrestling, or jiu-jitsu background, and then you had to learn the other two, you know, whichever two you didn't know. And I think that's one of the advantages I had in the beginning was I came in with as a wrestler and a kickboxer, martial artist, and I just had to learn jiu-jitsu. So, but then back then we were learning how to train it. How do we mix it together? How do we spar for this? How do we do that and not get hurt? You know, and then you know, now, you know, guys, you go right into a gym that they have coaches that know how to coach it. They got strength coaches, you know, dietitians, everything. You know, it keeps evolving. It's going to keep evolving. I mean, it was one of those things we said back then. If you don't keep evolving, you're gonna die in this sport. You're done. So you had to keep learning. You always had to keep what's coming up now. What's coming up new. I mean, look at the leg locks in the first few UFCs. I mean, those. I mean, they're so basic. You're like, wait, how did he catch a guy with that?
Like Ken Shamrock's heel hook of Pat Smith at UFC 1.
Right. And you're like, how did that work?
Yes.
Like it worked back then. It wouldn't work because no one knew what to do with it. It wouldn't work on a brand new guy nowadays, you know. But it's fun to watch that evolution, and you know, yeah, guys will keep getting better and better. And you know, now we're having guys start as a kid as a mixed martial artist. The first time they come into the gym, they're mixed martial artists. It's not just trying to, be one and not the other. Not. Oh, I'm gonna go, like a lot of guys for a long time. I remember the Hammer House guys for a while were like, just like, I'm gonna show wrestling's the best. I'm gonna show my thing's the best. But it turns out the best is a combination.
Chuck, last question I want to ask you about your fighting career. If you were the Chuck Liddell of 20 years ago now, your body is there, your age is there, your knowledge, everything there, Chuck Liddell of 20 years ago, who would you want to fight? Who would you be asking Dana White for to say, this is the matchup stylistically for me, of the modern guys now?
I think John Jones.
Yes.
That's the guy I'd want.
I was hoping you would say that. I have longer reach than we listed back in the day because that was a John Hackelman thing. He didn't like people knowing how long my arms were. The thing is, my overhand and the way I set things up with that works great when guys back up the way he does. He has length and he likes to lean back, move out of the way, and I think I catch him. But and I do, one of the things John is really good at is dictating where the fight's fought. Like if it's a wrestling, it's stand up, he wouldn't have a choice with me. I mean, I was a good enough wrestler to stop him from taking me down. If I was going to wrestle to take him down if I wanted to take him down too. Yeah, you hit on that, and no one really used the term then counter wrestling or anti wrestling, but you were such a good wrestler that you could use that counter wrestling to keep it on the feet. Then you could knock other grapplers out.
Right. I did great against a lot of grapplers because I was really good at the counter wrestling and making them pay for it.
Chuck, final question. Tell me about your next film role. I know there's going to be more movies, TV, entertainment. What's next for the Iceman?
I don't know. I just signed with ICM, so I'm excited about that. They're got an agency working for me to get me more parts and more things going on. So hopefully we'll have big things in the future.
Chuck Liddell's new film is called Cagefighter Worlds Collide. It will debut on FITE. One day only, 24-hour window, May 16th. It's available globally except for the United States and the Caribbean. It's a streaming purchase. Now, there will be 3 unique start times, 7 p.m., that's 1900 local, in these regions, Melbourne, London, and Toronto. And then following that, there will be a live question and answer session with key participants. That, again, is Cagefighter Worlds Collide, a new film written and directed by Jesse Quinones and starring Chuck Liddell. For more information and to order, go online to FITE.tv. And, of course, you can download the FITE app. FITE is spelled, and you already knew this, F-I-T-E. Chuck, you're an absolute legend. Thanks so much, man. This has been truly my pleasure.
Thank you for having me, man. Good talking to you.
That is the Iceman, the great Chuck Liddell. Thanks so much to all of you watching worldwide, and thanks again to Chuck. I'm Sean Wheelock. This has been an exclusive presentation of FITE.
Live from London, England! Are you ready for a new legend?